right. Let's, as everyone melts down around us, and they got to enjoy, maybe a day of like everyone get steel toe, get him. We're going to put him out of business.
I'll give him 2 days.
2 days?
Can I have this?
In 24 hours, it all melted down on them. Like, we got out of the Chad thing 3 weeks ago. And we said, you know what? He's obnoxious. He's bringing too many elements into this. It's not fun anymore. It's not a radio, making fun of people thing. If he were just shitting on our show and making fun of us, that's fun. That's what we've been doing the last few months.
Yeah.
So instead, we said, you know what? We're going to tap out. April was bothering April a lot. So I said, okay, we'll cut the shit.
It's just not the type of show I want to be.
So then April had an Adrian waking up from a coma moment. She went, wait a minute, for 3 weeks, we've been not doing this, and these fuckers are still being gay and doing gay ops and doxing and all this shit. She goes, you know what? Fuck them. Let's cover their horse shit. We don't have to get into a big prolonged war.
They want to make accusations. Let's cover it.
Well, let's if they want to make accusations, because we were directly implicated in this, that we had Chad attacked several times. The Flea sided up with him. Muttering Jay sided up with him, but I got to give Muttering Jay credit. He is trying to pull the nose of the plane back up, and I would be more than willing to talk to Muttering Jay. So anyway, and thank you, Trucker 18 Wheeler, for the $5. He says, but Aaron, you aren't allowed to sell guns on YouTube. Yeah, that's another one they tried to throw at us when the prize show thing didn't work. By the way, I talked to YouTube about the prize show thing. We're so good. I even got a clip of some guy who gives away like Jeeps and stuff on his channel.
It's people...
they buy merch and he gives them entries for a Jeep.
And that's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
People buy our stickers and then they get entry into a drawing.
Then we pick one of them. Yeah, exactly. Citizen M, I guess when they showed up on screen together talking about taking us down, that didn't count, right? Citizen M, you just backed the wrong horse, buddy. I'd take your apology too.
Yeah, that guy surprised me. I'll be honest.
He disappointed me quite a bit, but that's all right. I think he's more an agent of chaos, so at least I understand where he's coming from. Let's go to this Rover clip. This is fucking fascinating. So we all knew Chad was lying when he said, he showed up with this swollen eye, which, by the way, looks like a thumb in the eye or he dripped a chemical of some sort.
I didn't know what to make of it, really.
It was not as someone who's been punched in the eye a lot, that's not what getting punched in the eye looks like. Punched in the eye, there's a lot of color all around the eye. Mm-hmm. There's swelling around the eye. He did something to himself.
Something interesting.
And then, because podcasts like the ones he does don't have any content, they constantly need this grifty drama to get super chats. Mm-hmm. Because, as Carl said, their entire show is reading super chat. It's an entire show of reading super chats.
Yep.
That's all it is. It's remarkable. I actually, and I'm not shitting on him, if that kind of retarded shit can draw an audience, I mean, it's not the audience I'd like, but I mean, if people will watch you read super chats, that's amazing. So he shows up, he's got this he's drunk as fuck, he's got swelling on his eye is shut, he's drunk.
It looks bad.
He's dirty. He's got dirt all over his arm, his face, his fingernails are dirty. And he makes the claim that 2 guys beat him up, kicked him in the back, punched him in the face, and said, don't fuck with Cumia.
Because everybody does that.
Now, it's important to remember that line. Don't fuck with Cumia. That's what he claims they said.
All right.
He then blamed me, Anthony, and Carl for the attack. Now, Anthony and I think Carl too. Oh, no, Carl did too because he called into Compound. We all said on our shows, he was not attacked. He's lying. People shit on us for it. People hated us for it. People started attacking us for it. They started trying to make up other reasons why they were attacking us, even though they know they were trying to jump on the Chad got attacked thing. And again, I will accept apologies, but now we have confirmation from another individual that this is total horseshit. Rover from Rover's Morning Glory, a successful radio show for iHeart. I've known of Rover for a long time. Mm-hmm. And Rover hated Chad back when they were in Cleveland. Chad was the third mic on an afternoon radio show.
Yeah.
and he got 2 DUIs while he was in Cleveland.
I remember this.
One of the DUIs was in a sponsor's vehicle that he was loaned the vehicle. He got a DUI in a sponsored vehicle, and they cut him loose, and he's been spiraling ever since. He literally got ran out of Ohio. Then he went to Florida. Didn't have anywhere to shower, so he started using a gym to shower. He wasn't working out because he kept getting fatter. Then he stole credit cards.
From old people.
Yeah, he stole a Ninja blender from a Kohl's.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty bad.
I didn't know any of this. See, because I don't care to look. Okay.
There's been sexual assault threats against yours truly over here.
Yep, plenty of that.
There's been doxing. And then there was Friday when he attempted to dox our house on his show, only to dox 2 senior citizens somewhere else. Ugh, you can go watch the stream on Patreon and you can see where I've got screenshots of the whole thing.
Let's not forget they're the moral compass, though, of like the YouTube world.
Yeah,
how you should be broadcasting.
We're
doxing people.
So he totally Jussie Smolletted himself.
Right.
And now what happened here was Rover went on his show and goes, oh, this guy's claiming that he said don't fuck with Cumia and got the shit beat out of him. Well, allow me to illuminate the situation, shed a little light on it here for you guys. This motherfucker's been pulling this same grifting gimmick for years now.
Rover went, I think I've heard this before.
Now, I want to point out a couple of things. A, the way we cover it today is not going to be near as good as how Mersh covered it.
No.
Mersh on Nightwave, I think, did the best coverage of this ever. I will also say that if the people who host the podcast that Chad is on have any dignity left, if they haven't abandoned all dignity to do the kind of reading super chats show they do, they'd cut this guy loose. I'll tell you why they're not going to cut the guy loose. And this is another Aaron prediction you can take to the bank. They make a lot of money on that guy.
Mm-hmm. They do.
He's the whipping boy, and people pay money like a dunk tank. So they can't afford to lose him. He's not going anywhere. People are saying, this is the end of Chad. He's done. No, he's not. As long as you're willing to be humiliated on a daily basis, you will always have a job.
He's actually very important to that show's well-being now.
Yeah. If those two had any dignity, though, you don't work with a guy like that.
No. But that's long gone.
Yeah. If you fake attacks and you do shit like that, and then you do it multiple times in a decade, not only that, a lazy thing to repeat a thing you already did elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they're going to do anything with the guy. They need him too much. They'll never admit it, but they need him. So let's go to 2 hours and 14 minutes into Rover's show here. And Rover starts telling us some stories here about old Chad Smollett. Let's check it out. 2:14 is the time code. I don't mean to shit on iHeartRadio. I mean, I do. But let's make this app a little more searchable.
Yeah, this is tough.
This is really bad. They got one of those like small scroll kind of areas.
They need you to listen to the whole thing.
Here we go.
I can't believe it's a butter knife. Just
okay, nice.
Something. I mean, we need a writer to, I guess, come up with a line for you, Snitch. But speaking of funny guys, someone sent me so we talked about this guy who used to be on in the afternoons in our flagship station a long time ago. And he's now claiming that 2 guys randomly jumped him. And after they beat him up, they yelled out, "Don't F with Cumia."
Now, I'm not gloating, even though I should. I'm covering this as a newsman.
Reporting.
I'm just reporting. Do you understand, like, when we shit on podcasts that have no direction and don't do anything? You can be annoyed by Rover's voice if you want to, but, like, do you realize how professional of a delivery this is and, like, how it keeps things moving? And, God, I wish more radio guys would get into this podcast. I mean, he makes a ton of money. He doesn't need to, but I wish more radio guys would get into this podcast world to teach these bums how to do this shit. Oh, buffering. I won't pause too much.
Another former radio guy from 100 years ago. And I found it very unlikely that actually happened, considering that this Chad Zumock character had claimed exactly the same thing about me approximately 8 or 10 years ago. I don't remember. he called the police and made a police report that he was, again, jumped by two guys randomly, no forewarning. They beat him up. And after they beat him up, they yelled, "That's for Rover."
The exact same story. So it looks to me as a news observer that this man has a history of being a lying sack of shit who fakes attacks to try to get attention.
It would appear that way.
People with talent don't have to do this.
Yeah, we're not all mafia bosses.
Yeah.
That's for steel toe.
No, I'm saying if you're Chad, if you have any talent, you don't have to
That
keep
too.
faking attacks to get attention for yourself. Now, not only that, the other things he's lied about. I mean, the theft, we know about that. The DUIs, we know about that. How about the fact that Chad called, and Muttering Jay, here's one for you. How about the fact that Chad Zumock a couple of months ago called the St. Cloud Police Department and told them that we were having people sent to his house to threaten him.
We don't even know where you live.
How about the fact that Chad Zumock claimed he was in a car accident with a girl, never happened,
right.
and that he injured his shoulder and said, well, the other person doesn't have insurance, setting up a grift when it doesn't matter if the other person doesn't have insurance. You have insurance, you're good.
That's when I was still trying to be playful with him back then when he had his car accident. And when I would be interacting with him in his chat, he would be talking and doing, all this movement and all that stuff. And just out of nowhere, just, ow.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh,
So
dear.
he's lied about that. Rover's going to go over a couple more lies and then a fucking terrible thing that Chad did. Now, the terrible thing he's done recently is he tried to dox us. He attempted to dox us, claimed he had doxed us, showed our house on his stream, only it wasn't our house, it was someone else's. So
either option equally is horrible.
I don't think anyone gives a shit enough about Chad to do something to anyone's house. But if something does happen to those poor fucking people,
it's documented
that's got to be prosecuted.
Right. It's documented that you're the one who put that out there.
Yeah. So here we go. Rover continuing to tell the story. He's not done with his Zumock stories.
I can't wait.
A little buffering because it's iHeart. Sorry, guys.
And his allegation that he made to the police was that I paid two goons to beat him up, which is just so... I mean, does that even happen in real life, or is that just in the movies? I mean, who would...
You got to remember, the people in Chad's podcasting circle, they love mafia shit.
Yes.
Like, they're all into the mafia. I sent a text message warning about shit like this maybe coming down the pike and wishing on a guy I thought I was my friend that nothing bad happens to him. The shit fucking happened.
Yep.
And I was doing some kind of mafia threat, I suppose.
Isn't that nasty?
Steel Toe was right. I feel like, no, I'm a news reporter.
We're reporting the facts here.
I'm reporting the news. Sorry. A couple other news report facts that I have to get to here. There are sunshine laws in Florida. If you file a police report, it's documented. Mm-hmm. Chad never filed a police report about this beating. Also, Chad never went to the hospital for this supposed beating where he thought he was dead.
Sure.
Because the hospital will clean your face, they will clean your arms,
Yes,
they
they
will clean
will.
your hands. They got to get bacteria and shit off of you.
Yep,
and
whole kit.
And they'll give you a cream to treat your eye. They did not do that. So Chad not only lied about the attack and did it to himself, which is fucked up.
He appeared untreated.
Yeah. He did not go to the hospital. He did not file a police report. Because if he does file a police report, you can go to fucking jail for lying about that shit. Mm-hmm. Especially with his record of being a con man and a swindler.
Yeah, even what he did to us, calling our police department and claiming that we were having people sent to his home to get him. That is borderline like filing a false.
It wasn't an
police
official report, so it was.
Well.
So you kind of get away with that.
You're
one.
towing the line on that one.
Yeah. So Rover then goes on, and thank you to our newest member.
Thank you, Keith.
Keith J. Appreciate that, buddy. 165 away from knocking it out today. Great work, guys.
Thank you.
So Rover is now going to go over some other shit that Chad did while he was in Cleveland. That's fucking brutal. I mean, this is bad stuff.
I hate to hear it.
Again, a little buffering here.
It's just so ridiculous. So this guy has a history of making ridiculously outlandish claims. He has some sort of, in my estimation, he's mentally ill. But he posted, we talked about this yesterday, he's now posted. He's posted a response and he says, someone texted me today and sent me a DM that Rover's show did a 25-minute segment yitting on me.
I think he meant shitting. They are in radio.
I get it. He's a big iHeart guy.
Chad does this a lot too, and this is just me news reporting. Chad listens to everything obsessively, and he just goes, "Oh, somebody sent it to me." You'll notice when I listen to something, I'll say, "I listened to this." When I get sent something, I say, "I got sent it." Chad listens to all this shit incessantly.
Yes.
Incessantly. Sorry.
That's exactly 2 people, and only 2 people that contacted me about it. First of all, don't believe that, but back
Rover's
in the day when he would mention me, my inbox would be flooded, so that's not a good sign for WMMS and their viewers. The fact that Rover, if he's still actually talking about me 10 years later, is so sad on every level. Now, that's the part that I actually...
No, I would say, you know what's sad on every level? Having to lie about car accidents.
And beatings.
Having to steal Ninja blenders.
Stealing from old people, their credit cards.
Doxing senior citizens, thinking it's somebody else.
Stealing from liquor stores.
Making fake calls to the police. Claiming to be... Oh, he also claimed he was swatted and then immediately wrote, "I'm just lying."
Yeah.
And then deleted it.
What an idiot.
Yeah. And then faking the beatings. I mean, this is... Again, I understand. Look, he's in a good spot because he is one show's cash cow. He cannot be let go.
He's a fixture there.
But that's why people get mad at me when I keep calling that short money. You really think someone like this, they're not even keeping it together now. They've fallen apart. They've been completely exposed on this thing. I'm sorry, but you're tied to that ship. You don't think you are. You're tied to that ship, unfortunately.
His co-hosts on that show, though, they're counting on him not keeping his shit together.
And then people get mad. They're like, "Why do you call it short money?" Because depending on Chad Zumock's buffoonery before he completely melts down is not a long-term financial solution.
No.
Doing a good show is.
Actually find very rich. Is irony, is hypocrisy lost on this guy?
Yes. News guy. This
is a guy who, in the video piece we played last night, when he's making this ridiculous claim, when we played it yesterday morning, he's making this ridiculous claim that he was beat up over some radio beef. Then mentions in that video how he's been going after a guy named Maxwell who was on the radio 15 years ago. And he's bragging about how he keeps going after it. But yeah, in this post, if Rover's still actually talking about me 10 years later, it's so sad on every level.
Sad is faking an attack and then blaming me, Carl, and Anthony for it.
That's too bad.
That's what's sad. We left for 3 weeks. We handed you a victory, and you fucked it all up. And we said, we're going to starve this guy of oxygen. He's going to fuck it up. You just watch. And again, no gloating. But God damn it, you know what I'm going to say. And if you want to line up with your apologies, you're more than welcome to line up with your apologies. I will accept them. I am magnanimous.
I'd like some too.
And April would love some. April probably deserves more.
I deserve quite a bit.
Continuing on with Rover.
I mean, I just can't believe this guy.
Just to remind you real quick, here's the little part.
That's why I warned him. I go, stay the away, dude. I get in. I've been going after Maxwell in Cleveland for 15 years because he started doing that.
Maxwell's been off the air for at least a decade.
That is a sickness, dude.
That is sad.
Like, just as an observation, that's sick.
Yeah.
But the fact that if I bring this guy up, it's so sad on every level.
Right.
He says, I guess, let's see, we're not
talented or interesting enough for content, so we have to follow what he's doing.
This is kind of like what Mersh said on Nightwave when he covered this. He goes, when he said, dude, you can, he made a great point. He said, saying you're winning in like podcast beefs and radio beefs is so gay. Nobody wins, nobody loses, nobody gets destroyed. He said,
not
Chad,
real.
He said, Chad, you claimed you destroyed Steel Toe. And Mersh said, I get the notification on my phone every day, 7 o'clock, Steel Toe's live. So they're not destroyed. But he's doing this thing where he's now on the back foot. So he claims that Rover's obsessed with him. Mm-hmm. Well, dude, he's not obsessed with you. You did something really funny, and he's a radio comedy guy. You can't ask people to stay away from this. You faked an attack on yourself. You hurt your own eye and then blamed it and then pretended it was some kind of mafia hit by me, Cumia, and Carl. I mean, no offense to myself, Carl, or Cumia, look at the three of us.
Does that fit the bill?
When I'm probably the best fighter out of all three of us, that you're not dealing with the Macho Man New World Order here.
No. And
sorry.
Beyond that, like we're three shows that couldn't care less to do that to somebody.
Right.
You know.
So he's now getting it from Rover. And he said, Red Rover, send Chad's fake ass on over. And now Chad's trying to back out of it by going, he's obsessed with me. You poked yourself in your own eyeball so you could make more super chats.
Check it out.
No gloating.
That's rich too. Like he's telling Rover, like, oh, it's interesting. You got to make a show just based off following what I do. Well, what have you done? You made your whole show has been off of us.
Yeah.
And this new Flea too. His whole show has been off of us.
I think he's done though. Like they're already melting
I mean,
him
it's
down.
just, it is always the trend that like rules for thee and not for me, right?
Yeah.
Like we can't do what you're doing.
Here
Not
we
that
go.
we'd want to.
A little more Rover.
Oh, yes. We hang on every word that the guy does on his podcast for 5 people. No, somebody sent it to me, and they remembered. They go, did this guy make this phony baloney claim about you? Yes, he did. I guess helping exploit and facilitate in the suicide of their former phone screener for content was their peak moment
This
for
is Chad
content.
writing this. This is what he's accusing them of.
How?
This is basic Chad, by the way. Deflect, don't take responsibility, and then throw something wacky out there. It's the guy's I think the worst crime he commits, other than the actual crimes he's committed, is he's remarkably unoriginal.
And unfunny.
Yeah.
He claims to be a comedian, but
I don't
severe
get it.
lack of comedy.
Yeah. More Rover.
This is the claim he's making. I'll address this. How did I facilitate in the suicide of our former phone screener? What did I do to facilitate that? Absolutely nothing. In comparison to this guy, if you'll recall,
Get ready.
when things started going downhill for this Zumock guy, actually, they've been going downhill a long time, but when people really started getting on his ass was when text messages were published. Do you recall this, Charlie?
Uh-oh.
And it was a girl who had some mental issues, who was an acquaintance of this Zumock, and he relentlessly texted her numerous times, just boom, 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 machine gun texted her, commit suicide. You'd be better off dead. Everyone wishes you were dead. Do the world a favor and just kill yourself. It will be better for you and everyone around you.
I never knew about that.
Oh,
There's
boy.
funny shit like him faking the attack. And then there's not so funny shit like the doxing those senior citizens in Minnesota live on his show. You can go see it. I have screenshots of it. He put their house out there and told people it was ours. Go look at Jenny on Twitter. I'm sorry, she's in that whole Dabbleverse. Her name's just Jenny. But anyway, that's not very funny. But that shit, that's the kind of, and again, I'm doing news, so I won't say what I want to say. That's the kind of individual you're dealing with. And if you want to back Zumock over us, that's fine. But you're a piece of shit, too. In my news reporter opinion.
I won't even speak for you, but I would never say something like that to anybody.
I would, never do that.
Never.
Because I have talent.
I don't care how much I dislike somebody. It's easy enough to just not talk to them.
Guys,
you don't need to tell them that.
You can dislike me, April, Johnny, Corey. You can dislike our whole show. You can think it's garbage. That's totally fair. That's totally fine. But please, don't back a piece of shit like this. Because no matter what kind of creature you are on the internet, I doubt that you're as bad as this guy. I mean that. To anyone watching this right now going, well, I have to like Chad because I hate Steel Toe. Not many hosts will tell you this. Not many hosts will be this honest with you. Hate me. Think I'm the worst piece of shit. I'm a grifting, e-begging hunk of shit. You're right. Absolutely hate me. But don't lump yourself in with this. Look where it got the Flea. Look where it got Muttering Jay before, again, in fairness to Muttering Jay, he tried to pull the nose of the plane out. Look where it gets these guys. That's why I call it short money. You can hate us. You can think our show sucks. That's part of doing this show. But the lies and the bullshit now that have been exposed that we said were lies and bullshit, you don't want to be on that guy's side. You don't have to be on my side, but you don't want to be associated with that just for your own soul.
him, the Flea, and everyone like that, it just really seems like they keep following the trend of rules for thee and not for me. He continues to do things like promote violence and things like that and cause harm to people, doxing and all this stuff while portraying himself as a moral compass.
Or a victim.
And a victim. I would say both.
That's so that was
bad.
That was Rover's take on the whole thing. Rover had more, including saying like, "I've never heard of this steel toe guy. He doesn't have a lot of followers." That's true. People are like, "Oh, he was shitting on you." No, he wasn't. That's true.
He's just acknowledging reality.
Jaeger King says, "Contact the Hillsborough Sheriff's Office. It's public record. There's no police reports." No, they don't. Florida has the sunshine law. Zero Dark Tony has looked into this already. It was total horseshit. It was total horseshit. So there we go. That was Rover. Now I do want to, a guy named Mr. Imus at JBirdWisco on Twitter.
Okay.
He found another interesting tweets almost 1 year apart exactly.
Okay.
Of Chad lying about more attacks.
So we're just going to report on the tweets.
We're just going to report on them. October 11th, 2021. Last night outside of Birmingham, Alabama, I was driving back to Tampa and I got mugged outside my hotel room at gunpoint. Never happened. I told a few people last night and this morning I had a ton of messages. Just letting you know. I'm fine but a little freaked out. I went to my car to get my backpack and next door to get some food. When I was coming back to my room, a guy came up to me around the corner with a gun and said, "Give me your wallet and backpack." I obviously did, and he got away with about $700 in cash, my paychecks from the comedy club, and a bunch of notebooks. Never happened. But now he can claim that he's out $700 and he can ask people for money.
Yeah, it's a cash grab.
Nobody has attacked this many times in their life.
And I mean, people have probably been really kind to him and given him the benefit of the doubt many times too and helped the guy out. And he continues to do it because it works.
This is almost 1 year later. No, that one was in October. So this is a little more than a year later. This is November of this past year. This is the vehicle lie, the car accident.
Yep.
Back from a gig outside Sarasota, and my phone is still in the vehicle. I was involved in a very, very nasty auto collision last night. If there's any good news, all parties involved are alive, and my friend who was driving was not at fault. The bad news is the person at fault of the other vehicle didn't have insurance. My friend is still in the hospital with a clavicle fracture. Both her and I ache from the whiplash and have some minor burns from the airbag deploying. Never had the burns. Not only that, clear grift set up with the he didn't have insurance thing. The only problem is that doesn't matter in a car accident.
No, it doesn't.
Your insurance covers it.
Yes. Yep.
So obvious grift being set up here as well. Thank you, Mr. Imus, for checking that out. Again, we're just reporting. Mr. Imus had one more. This was Rover tweeting out or Facebook posting Chad's arrest for the Ninja blender valued at under $1,000 from a Kohl's. Through witness statements, it was learned that Zumock left the store with a blender and did not pay for same. Illegally and unlawfully in violation of the state of Ohio revised code section misdemeanor of the first degree theft. Just a history of being dishonest, a history of lying, and now the newest one is he got attacked and he got fucked up in the eye and said, "This is for Cumia or don't fuck with Cumia." He did the same thing with Rover years ago. Neither of them ever happened.
And interestingly enough, like this isn't things that our show typically would ever dig into. However, you know, you leave yourself kind of open and exposed when you sit here making serious accusations against other people that aren't true. That's an actionable offense.
Yeah. It's look, you made your bed, essentially. Thank you to The Mood. He says, keep it up. Just ignore the trolls, do a show, and laugh at the fails. I mean, we've been doing a pretty bang-up show today. Thank you guys very much for the $5. 160 away from today's goal. Is MSO going to make his prediction yet? We are 160 away, which is right around where we usually are with 5 minutes left when we rattle the cans and do the, what does Royce call it, the $5 hype train? The ROTC patented $5 hype train.
We're going to get some fun props.
Absolutely. We got about 20 minutes before we actually do that and perhaps do a little overtime today. If you feel like chipping in, there's the PayPal and Streamlabs in the chat. It's also pinned to the top of the page there. Super chats and memberships count as well. Let's knock that down a little before Just a Dabbler's Super Chat music.
Share that show too. Hit the like button, subscribe.
Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. So I'm sorry if that came off a little gloaty. I didn't want it to be gloaty.
I don't think so, almost.
I wanted to cover it because we got vindicated in a big way this weekend, and this alliance that built itself against us completely fell apart.
Check it out. All that shit, we strictly reported stuff that actually happened. There's documentation of it and all that. This big iHeart guy, Rover, like, accused of the same shit.
It's documented. Like, it's proven.
You'll never find that shit on us because we don't do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we just
that's not in our ways.
We don't like the flea. We don't ask. We don't beg people to send text messages of our life history and shit. Like, that's pretty pathetic. I mean, that's sad.
Imagine if somebody were to do that to you, how fucking gross and weird that is.
Well, I think Red Bar pretty much reamed his asshole so bad that he has no dignity left. So that would explain it.
You know, and even the thing is even with Red Bar completely destroying that dude, like, I still don't know anything about his personal life, and I don't care to because I don't look.
He doesn't look like a guy who has much of
I don't care how he got to wherever he is today. You know, he just is what he is, and at the moment, he's a flea being flicked off our shoulders.
Caligula says, nah, you were professional about it.
I think so, too. Awesome. Yeah, I think you're the gloating thing, I don't think it was gloating.
I didn't gloat. I feel good that I did not gloat.